character named John. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to review the latest film before your flight leaves. Good luck, John. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Hi guys, welcome to another movie crew review. Today we'll be reviewing Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
The movie stars Tom Cruise, Hayley Atwell, and Simon Pegg.
So, taking after Dead Reckoning Part 1, we find Ethan Hunt 2 months after the events of that film, holding the cruciform key and trying to take down the entity that we met in the first film. The group is back. We've got Hayley Atwell, Simon Pegg, and they are trying to assist in this climactic end of the franchise. So I'm going to start off the review. And first things first, this is the popcorn bucket that Hoyts in Australia is selling. It comes with the set of keys. It opens up. It's got lights. It's fantastic. So my review on the popcorn bucket, 10 out of 10. It's fantastic. But now, onto the film. I've seen it multiple times now. Gone to IMAX, D-Box, 40X to experience all the glory that is a Mission Impossible film. And for me, I really did love the action scenes and the aspect of closing up the film and harking back to the original film. So you get to see aspects of all the 7 previous films in this film. Obviously, number 7 being the lead on to this, so that's probably the most prevalent. But there is a lot from the first Mission Impossible, so I do recommend if you want to watch that before you go into this, you'll probably get the most out of it. Some other things are the rabbit's foot coming back from Mission Impossible 3, and, you know, we get some backdrops and things from the other films, so I think there's a lot of good callbacks to the series throughout, and it's a nice end cap to the franchise. Tom Cruise, first off, does the 2 biggest stunts, being the biplane stunt and the submarine stunt, so multiple years of planning, and it's just really great to see on screen, especially in motion seats for the flying aspect. I really did enjoy that. The storyline, it's pretty much carrying on from the first film. So the first film was the hunt for the key. The second film is now we've got this key. How are we going to stop this AI? And in the 2 months that have preceded the film, we are seeing that this entity has pretty much taken over the world's digital footprint and it's trying to take over. So it's the race of Ethan Hunt to stop nuclear Armageddon. I really did find that the cast really did come into its own. You get a small piece from Ving Rhames. He's been in every film just like Tom Cruise has. And then you've got Hayley Atwell, who is the, I guess, next in a long line of Hunt's girls. You got Rebecca Ferguson that she took the place of from the last film, and she is in a large part of this film, a lot bigger, I would say, than the first film that she was in. So I did enjoy her character and seeing how her and Ethan end up working together. You're starting to see that even though these stunts are quite big, the time's catching up with Ethan throughout the film, and I think it's interesting to see how he kind of takes that on, the ways in which they handle that, being the cinematography and the writing. Of course, Simon Pegg, fantastic. Benji in this film, a lot more serious. Some of the comedy still comes from him, but he's transitioned a lot more from the comedic to more of the serious as he becomes more of a team leader role in this film. And then you've got the other ones that are throughout the film. The villain Gabriel, I do find him a little bit hollow without the entity's help. And you got the original boss from the first Mission Impossible who came back for number 7, Eugene Kitteridge. I really did enjoy him. And a little bit of a spoiler, but William Dunlow, who's in the first film from the iconic scene where Tom Cruise drops from the ceiling, he makes an actual quite large cameo in this film, a large appearance. And I really did enjoy this film. I think action-wise, stunt-wise, just it has everything, and it wraps up the film in a really nice way, and it really gets you into the whole Mission Impossible vibe feeling. It's just more and more what that franchise has become, and it's a nice way to bookend it, and it's a good ending to that film. So yeah. Moon?
Alright. I don't want to start the review on a sour note, but I have to. This is by far my least favorite Mission Impossible movie. I have loved all of them, especially Fallout. Fallout is my still favorite, and I had expectations for this movie, but not a lot for some reason, and I just didn't like it much. Sorry, John. So I'll get the positives out of the way. Obviously, the action is pretty good. I would say the last scene with the 2 planes, that was very well done. We could see Tom Cruise, his face, and he's just dingling around that plane. That was cool stuff. And a couple of action scenes here and there. They were fun. There was one submarine. I wasn't a big fan of it, but I could see why would someone actually like it, but that's just not my thing. I think the worst part of this movie is the non-existence of an actual villain. So it's called the Entity.
Yeah.
So this Entity thing, it's from like the first part as well, but I just didn't feel anything because I didn't feel any danger towards any people. It sort of felt like plucked from like a episode of Doctor Who where there's one thing and it's sort of like menacing, but we don't see any repercussions here. It's just out in some way like AI thing. And what's Tom Cruise gonna fight? Like, he can't fight the Entity. So it's just, I don't know why they went for this thing, and it's just fizzled out, and I just hated this aspect of the movie. Comedy, Simon Pegg, I love Simon Pegg. He's one of my favorite actors, and like John mentioned, so he's doing a bit of a serious role here, and he's great at it. I think everyone did a really good job, especially I think McGrames. Tom Cruise, man, he's going, and if there were more, I don't want to see it, but maybe other movies if will ever come. I hate the ending of this movie. I absolutely hate it. This is right next to Dark Knight Rises for me. I wanted something else, and I don't know why they did this, but they did it. Yeah, not for me, this movie. Cameron?
Yeah, I'm more on the page with Moon on this one. I think straight from the get-go, you can call it the Final Reckoning, but it's Dead Reckoning Part 2. I mean, that's the biggest hindrance for this movie, I feel. Because after watching Part 1 and then watching Part 2, it feels like it could be just one movie, but much more condensed. Because if you put the two together, it's nearly 6 hours of film. And like Moon said, I mean, the villain in the Final Reckoning was just non-existent. I mean, I don't know why we brought back Gabriel. I suppose he was the only human element to the villain arc in this part. But in the first part, I absolutely loved him, and I loved the first part to bits because it has more of a spy element that Mission Impossible is known for. But this one, it just felt like we were on this long chase without the spy work and without finding out what's behind it. We're just looking for the end run. And for 3 hours, I think it just got a bit too long for me. I mean, the plane stunt was amazing. I mean, my favorite stunt was him clinging onto the plane in, what was it, number
4.
Number 4.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite stunt of all time, but this one really come close because again, he's on a plane. So I think I can really engage with the danger easier this way for some reason. But when he was underwater, that was the longest. I think it was 20 minutes. I think that was the longest 20 minutes of my life. I think 10 minutes, it was intense, but it just fizzled out so quickly for me. I think the silence and just not much happening, but the same thing happening, like things are going to maybe fall on him or he's going to get coughed up in the blades and he's going to, like, it's just sort of the same things that are just happening, reoccurring in the little submarine. So for me, it lost me straight away, but like I said, it's probably just not fast maybe, but I mean, it's not a terrible movie, but just for me, just cause you take away part 2 in this title doesn't mean it's not part 2. I mean, I can't imagine watching this one without watching the previous one. I think I would have hated it even more, but it's a pretty good movie, but in terms of being a Mission Impossible, it just, left me a bit flat-footed and just didn't hit the same. You know, I really enjoy those spy elements that they bring, and this one really had no spy element for me in a sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean in that respect. Because a lot of the, I don't know if you'd call it like the spy tech that you have in the film.
Yeah.
Like in the first part, Dead Reckoning Part 1, like you see those cool glasses he has that can pick up the key and things like that. But because the entity is like a technology-based thing, they're pretty much gone the complete opposite. Everything's analog, like the radio comms, the tracking devices, everything like that. I can understand it from a story point.
Yeah.
But like you say, there's always that kind of thing, like when I think of a Mission Impossible, there's always the sidekick that's a female that's really smart, a cool car, a big action scene, you know, those kind of things, chases, a lot more fast paced, and we don't really know the objective until the last part of it, if that makes sense. Whereas coming into this, within the first 5-10 minutes, you know the whole, like what the plan is.
Yeah.
What they're planning to do. Because he says, we got to do this, and then we got to do that, and then this, and then that will finish it up.
Yeah.
And so I can understand where the difference is between those films. For me, I did enjoy it, and I think it's hard to make had it been a standalone film, I think it would have wrapped it up more satisfying. Like say the first half was the chase for the key, and then the second half was the submarine going in there, grabbing the Pakova and the little poison pill and going there, but it's probably too many stunts for one singular film. It's, you'd probably lose, in my opinion, of the 3 stunts, you'd probably lose the motorcycle stunt, only because the water and the one air stunt, that's probably enough. One air stunt, one water stunt. I did like the submarine one, especially it is a bit slow when he gets in the submarine, but getting to the submarine when he jumps out and the subsequent when he's trying to get out of the submarine and escape it, they're like, for me, like real action. But I can see what you're talking about in terms of the pacing starts to slow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can appreciate, like, that is a pretty complex thing to do.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because it's like the biggest tank, 8.5 million liters, and it's on this 1,000 ton gimbal that they have to change the sets out. It takes like 2 weeks to change every time. It's pretty impressive to just know the behind the scenes, but at sometimes maybe they're a bit more, instead of saying, can we do it? Should we do it?
Yeah, it just wasn't entertaining to a degree. Like you said, the beginning was great.
Yeah.
It was intense. But then we spent another 10 minutes of him actually in the tight submarine when the same things are just sort of recurring. It just, I don't think they could have shortened that a bit more to keep that intensity.
And we're going also to the St. Matthew's Island station. Even that bit's starting to play out a bit long. Like, I appreciate that we're doing a little bit of world building, but at the same time, it took like a while to get to the action.
Yeah.
Whereas I would have appreciated, like, they come in, they meet the second party, and then next scene, get what they need to, and then shoot out, as opposed to like, we go back there a few times. Look, for me, it's not the best of the Mission Impossibles, but it is a really good Mission Impossible comparing it to all the other ones. There are certainly worse ones. Number 2 is a definite, I'll tell you that much. Did not really like that one at all. Ironically, the only one that features Australia, so go figure. But, yeah. And I mean, in terms of a couple of smaller characters, Trammell Tillman from Severance is in the film. He plays Captain Beluso, the submarine captain. And the way that he acted it, I would love to see him in a lead role.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, so good. You had Hannah Waddington, but she was kind of more of a, I wouldn't say throwaway character, but she was just a means to an end. And Angela Bassett, as the president, links it back to the days of when she was a CIA and Henry Cavill's in it and things like that. So they're all little bits and pieces that link all the films together. And that's one of the main things that I appreciate. Being able to go back to number 3 and be able to link that to this film and be able to link, things from the first film, things from the 4th film, all the series, link it all together and try and culminate it. There's never going to be a satisfying conclusion to it.
I personally didn't like the way they linked the rabbit's foot thing. And I think, first, I would say 30 minutes ago, we had a lot of flashbacks from all the movies.
You didn't like the flashbacks, or that
I didn't like the
entity was linked to the...
Yeah, so it all comes full circle. I just don't like it, the way they were trying to link it and flashbacks and the entity whole thing. I don't know. I needed an actual entity to an actual person to.
Yeah, I kind of saw it as more I know it's not something that it's really the same, but death in Final Destination, it's like a faceless thing that you never see, but always causes the outcome.
But we didn't
That's
see
how I kind of, and I think the first film does it a lot better, when he's sending Ethan to the little alleys in Venice, and he hooks into the entity hooks into the comms, sends him to the wrong place, things like that. Or when the entities are erasing the Gabriel from all the video, but in live real time, not after the fact. They're cool things, but in this film we really barely had any of that, because, to be honest, the entity was so overpowered that I don't think Ethan could have competed if he tried to use technology.
Oh yeah. And it made sense why the entity got rid of Gabriel, because it did fail in the end. But it just part 1 for me is just so much better than this one. Did they have a face reveal in this one?
Yeah, you know what?
Technically
There
or
was
not?
sort of.
Yeah. It wasn't really one, was it?
Not really. It's not like the first one, or all the films. There wasn't really much.
That's what I'm there for.
Yeah, we need that thing.
That's the whole
Another
identity
thing,
of Mission Impossible. Is a
masks.
stunt and a mask.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, the mask. We didn't really get that whole I'm going to go into this underground base and I'm going to be wearing Gabriel's face. And that would have...
I think that harps back to what you're saying. The entity is just so OP. You can't do anything. So I think that they really cornered themselves into a hole, and it just didn't pay off for me and Moon as much as you, obviously, but it is what it is.
I know that this entity thing comes back to all the way back from Mission Impossible 2. This was a spec script for Mission Impossible 2.
Oh, is it?
But it was obviously...
I don't remember Mission Impossible 2, honestly.
Well, they didn't go in that direction. They went for a virus instead of a computer virus.
Now I remember,
But it's one of those things that, now the technology's caught up. It's much more of a real thing that could happen as opposed to back then. People didn't even have an iPhone, so
computer virus was the big thing.
Yeah. Alright guys, gonna give our scores?
Yep.
Moon, how many keys out of 10?
I give 6.5 keys out of 10.
John?
I'll give it 9 keys out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give it 7 keys out of 10. Alright guys, make sure to check out our socials, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.